and this is episode 34 of DALLÄSTHETIC. And today, joining me is Alex Revier. Hi, Alex.
Hello, Jordan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Alex is a Dallas-based artist, and he's got a show currently on view at the Magnolia. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I'll address that first video we just saw. That was from the Medianale that was held at the MAC 4 years ago. But the Medianale, which is a biennial video show, is actually on at the MAC now for another few days. So if you're in the area or you're not in the area, you might want to run by the MAC and catch the end of the Medianale. How did you get involved with making their commercial that year?
Well, I was a new media study student at UNT, and my professor, Michael Morris, asked if I would like to make a commercial for it, and that's how. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And it was just basically a day in the life?
Mm-hmm, basically. They said I could do pretty much anything, and well, Michael Morris, he does video work using film, so I took his 16 millimeter film class, and so that was after I graduated.
Was that in film?
No, that was actually in digital video.
Okay, cool. So you've done some video work.
Mm-hmm. I've done some video work.
Yeah, and then live performances in the past, not so much anymore.
Right. In the past, I've done a lot of live performance. I wouldn't call it shock value performance, but a lot of it was kind of shocking. And I went by the name The Dark Magician, and I made magic, but most of it only appeared in my head.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's great, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever unintentionally make magic?
I think so.
What happened?
I think the reaction of the people said I made magic.
Okay, that's great. I watched a couple of those actually today, and there was one with the kombucha, like giant solid kombucha that you would put all over yourself. It was in a jar that you'd, oh my gosh, that was really something. Yes. I could tell the audience was a little shocked.
Yeah, and the hosts of the facilities were not very happy because of the smell.
I can only imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So we'll go back a little bit. So when did you know you were going to be an artist, or that you are an artist?
Pretty young, I guess, in grade school when I was a little kid. And I've always known I should make art and do it and pursue it, and just have always have. So, yeah. That's
cool. So you grew up with some encouragement to do it, I'd imagine.
I think so. I also just knew. I knew, like, the whole time. Like, every elective I took in school is going to be art. I guess my mom helped encourage that. But mostly, I think, just watching garbage TV and playing in the backyard and with the dogs and stuff and making things out of sticks and whatever. I don't know. I've always been doing it.
You've got a pretty wide variety of media that you've used. We have a slideshow that has some of the images that'll come up in a minute. But we've got some of, like, I guess your more recent sticks in that, and then several paintings and drawings.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known you a few years. You were in the last 2 Chaos shows, and then you had a small show in the Under the Stairs gallery last year. And so people that come to Row 2 tend to know who you are. And when, of course, you're in the gallery world yourself.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And been a part of the art world for so long. What do you think of, this is kind of like an out there question, but what do you think of, like, the Dallas art scene? Is it strong? Is it on the rise? Is it just?
That's an interesting question, because I feel like I'm so immersed in it that it's hard to get an outsider's perspective, especially because I don't travel as much as I should. So I'd say it seems pretty healthy.
Does it feel energetic to you?
Yes,
Cool.
it seems like it used to be a little more concentrated, but not
Yeah.
as strong as far
Right.
as like location and stuff. But now it's a little more spread out, but there's a lot more going on, I think.
I think that's what I've noticed too.
Yeah.
It was a lot more insular in some ways, like
Mm-hmm.
a couple black holes getting a lot of attention, and then you just didn't know what else was going on.
Right.
And now it seems like you can find art just about any time you look.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious your thoughts on that. So you draw, you paint, you make sculpture, some performance, some video. What is your kind of your go-to when you're thinking, you wake up and you're like, I need to make some art? What do you do?
My favorite thing to do is glue objects to other objects. And well, I guess like usually I'm gonna be doing like 2D, like painting and drawing, like ink on paper and stuff like that, which I love doing as well. And I think that started out from me making flyers for shows, like for like live music shows, and then that kind of evolved into making more like, I don't know, fantasy land. I don't want to use that word, like color-based 2D stuff. But if I'm like for therapy for myself, like what I want to make all the time lately is like found objects glued to other objects until it becomes like this like thing.
Oh, cool.
That's what I kind of want to do, but I don't think anyone wants to see that or buy it.
Well, I wanna
But
see it.
I'm gonna still do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I think there's kind of a renaissance for objects now. I know that in gathering artists for the Road to Art Chaos show coming up, we're seeing a lot more things than we had in the past. Of course, there's overwhelming amount of 2D work, but I'm seeing some interesting things in clay and then just like other media you wouldn't think of,
Good.
and a lot of anthropomorphic stuff. It's kind of exciting.
That's good.
So I want to look at some of your images from the past.
Okay.
So this is an installation shot from probably a pretty while back. Right?
That was from 2012, my first solo show in 2012. There's a detail of that one. That was when I was still in college at UNT, and that was probably before I started doing new media work. Actually, that was before 2012, so that must have been 2010 or 11.
How did you like UNT?
I liked UNT a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I partied too much, and I almost flunked out, and then I started getting my core art classes, and then I made the dean's list.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. It just, took me
I was far from the dean's list. I was very far from the
just
dean's
like
list.
one time
Well, still, that's
for
something.
for the art part. My GPA is still really low.
Well,
No one looks at that.
no one. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
I have not had to refer to my GPA
No.
one time since graduating, and it's been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But UNT is notoriously an incredible painting and drawing program.
Yes.
And here's some of
now
these
this
objects.
is a newer piece. It's a baseball bat. I started making weapons that could be functional, but are hopefully just decorative. But who knows? Maybe like the owner of this now will have to use it in combat or something. There is a slightly older object that I've made. It's a spear, but at the end of it is a fork.
So it could be used for productive means other than spear forking somebody.
Yeah, I
or
think
whatever.
so. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And
Thanks.
and then we'll see. There's like a golf club with nails on it,
Mhm.
and then something that I'll want to know what that is that are up next. Let's see if we can get those up while we're talking about them. So what's that?
Okay, so that's a golf club with screws in it, and you could try to golf with it. Oh, and that's a rake, with a bunch of rusted razor blades in it.
Something you'd want to be really careful of when you're in the yard.
Yeah, but
That's wild with those razor blades.
yeah.
Got another, this is a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, this is probably exactly 2 years old. And that
And then
one,
this is your biggest painting ever, right?
well, I wouldn't say it's my biggest, but it took me the longest. I worked off and on for like 5 years on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen it in person, but I saw the progression of it online for quite some time.
Yeah.
What did it feel like to finally finish it?
Exhausting. Like I was so overlooking. I was just completely done looking at it. And so finishing it was like a major release. It was nice.
Was it hard to part with it?
No, at that point, I'd been working on it for so long that it
You were done?
felt pretty nice just to let it go.
So this is a piece in my collection that
Mm-hmm.
you made last year, and I watched that one progress for quite some time, and was like super excited to see it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
And I couldn't. There was just no way I could let anyone else have that. I've got some detail shots of that I want to look at. So you've got kind of like one narrative sort of going on near the top half of the drawing or of the piece, and then the bottom part has kind of this kind of fantasy feel to it. What's the piece about?
It's about, well, freedom is a pretty loaded word,
Yeah.
so I can't not be political, but I try to just make it for me
Yeah.
as like my own freedom and what that means exactly, like freedom of like thought and oppression and stuff. And
Oh, cool.
I set up a lot of different pieces like that with like layers. So like layers, the first one I did was like layers of spiritual beings, and the top was like, I made it in high school. It was like God, and then like angels and humans, and then like werewolves, and then like demons and the devil or something.
Oh, wow.
And this one's not set up like that, the freedom piece. But I did try to make it in layers like that. So maybe it would be different layers of my thoughts and emotions. So like the top is like what it says,
Yeah.
freedom, and then
And then it's
the
like,
middle
whoa,
is kind of
serious
like
for a minute.
the reality of my current situation, maybe in thought or in real life. And then the bottom maybe is this psychedelic like freedom town of like colors and shapes and plants and things.
Little girls playing, people riding on
Yeah.
horses. Did you ever see the work of Henry Darger?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That piece reminds me just a little bit of like the Vivian girls, and just like the maximalism of it.
Yeah, he's an influence for sure.
Oh, cool. I could see that. It makes sense. Yeah, love this piece. So, and then what's in the background there on the right? Is there a bunch of monitors or something?
Well,
or is it
I
building?
painted those to kind of mimic some of the windows and square shapes that were going on in there.
Okay.
So it may not actually represent something in particular as much as like a geometric thing that goes back in space.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice close up I got there, huh?
Yeah.
That part of the
Extreme
painting is about that big. So, tell us about the new show.
Well, the new show, I wanted to push myself to make things that were a little more tame and friendly, since it is going to be out of a gallery setting per se, and in a more public setting like the Magnolia Theater Bar. I didn't want it to be too crazy, so I focused on shapes and line and color, and it kind of like veered off quite a bit, and I started getting a little more like imagery and characters and things like that. But primarily it's about like design, and that's about it. Just like,
It's a really good looking show.
thank you.
What does Spangled mean to you?
Like splatted all over the place. It's like like ran over with a, what do you call those things that are full of water that you roll over the street with?
Oh, I didn't know there were
Roller.
like a
Spangled.
steam truck or something like.
I don't know. The word sounds crazy to me. Spangled.
Yeah.
Like that's not a word. No
Well,
one uses the spangled.
yeah,
Isn't
not too
that's a
often.
crazy word?
Um,
Maybe I don't use it. So I thought it sounded funny, but it's something I've heard my entire life.
Yeah.
Because of the American anthem, Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So
don't
in
know
your
it.
work in the show, there's stuff kind of spangled around. I
Mhm.
love this piece.
Thank you.
And is that a Taco Bell?
It's supposed to be a fancy car wash.
Okay. Maybe used to be a Taco Bell
Yeah, probably.
in a previous life.
Uh-huh.
And then you did, and this one's The Girth of the World, right?
Yeah, okay, so this one is about, in the 90s, there was a cult, and I think it was a Korean cult, and this guy said that at a certain time, God will appear on the TV, and he said that Garland was God's land.
I remember that.
And when God didn't appear on the TV and he wasn't duplicated like 10,000 times or something, he came out and said it was all fake and like that he was full of it or something, and then Garland was no longer God's land.
It's lazy because an easy solution would have been to hire an actor and just
Yeah.
pirate some airwaves,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it boiled over.
Yeah. Really cool piece.
Thanks.
And then this, initially when I saw it, I was thinking The Last Supper.
Yeah, it does look like it. I think probably growing up Christian, there's a lot of this kind of religious imagery in my art. So
Yeah.
that's probably where a lot of this is coming from.
But
And
you've
my
got,
subconscious.
it's really
so-
cute though. You've got like mice dining on Band-Aids, or
Yeah.
at least
Well,
examining them or
and
something.
Part of that, I mean, away from the imagery, is I started experimenting with like plastic papers, like Yupo paper,
Mhm.
and alcohol inks, and it was just like a whole new world. So, yeah, a lot of what you'll see in the show is this new experimentation.
Yeah, like the spangled pieces, the ones that you called spangled, with strips of paper.
Mhm.
Like here's one. Are they cut up paintings, or is it a
So this
variety
would
of
be
things?
2 different pieces that I experimented with, and then cut them up into bits and pasted them back together.
So cool.
Thank you.
And this one looks like, I feel like I see hamburgers,
Mm.
but
Do you like what kind of condiments do you like on the hamburgers?
I like mustard and as pickle a condiment. I think.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I like mayonnaise and ketchup.
oh, do you? You're one of those people. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But the work, and the gold in some of the pieces didn't show up in the images, but I mean there's quite a lot of media in these mixed media works,
Mhm.
and then like tons of work.
Thank you.
And you've been working on the show for several months,
Mhm.
and they're small pieces, but like they're so chock full of stimulation and color, and they don't feel decorative at all.
Great.
Which is really nice.
Good. Thank you.
And there's abstraction, but it still feels like there's something living there.
Mhm.
It's really impressive.
Well, thank you, Jordan.
So this show, Spangled, is on view at the Magnolia Theater. It's up now,
Mhm.
and that's at West Village in Dallas, and it's the second floor bar. So you go up and you get a drink, and then you enjoy the art, and later you can see a movie if you want. But tonight on today is Thursday, 7-Eleven, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. You get a Slurpee, and then on your way to on your way to the show, if you want, we have a reception from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Magnolia for Alex and his work, and we hope you'll attend. And the show will continue through August 19th, I believe. And here is a postcard. So virtually, you're invited. You're all invited. Well, that's about it for today. Thanks so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Bye.